And when I told Charles Woolley in Kenya that, he nearly fell off his chair. He laughed so much because he said, I'm exactly the same as that. So I've had to move more this way. And so Caroline said so in other words, also, even virtually the postman, when he comes to our house to deliver letters, virtually gets a hug as well. It's like for everybody, which is good. That's a good way.
Yeah.
So, where was I? Minister's coming now. So we arranged, Caroline said, no problem, come round on Thursday night. So I think, okay. So he comes round and he's talking about every subject. Caroline's asking him subjects about the Bible and this and that and weird and wonderful things like dinosaurs and all this type of stuff. Anyway, fine, so he goes, and we enjoyed it. And he said, can I come back next week and I'll bring my wife? So we said, fine. Came with his wife, and guess what happened? We both gave our hearts to the Lord. So we started going to church, and that was nearly 24 years ago, and we've been involved in the church. Since then, we've been involved in the church. When I started reading the Bible, we were doing really well in our business. I read there, I just sort of took it literally with what it said. So it said, tithe and give 10% of your money to the church, and we were making a lot of money. So we just started giving 10%, and since then, we got into the habit of giving to the church and giving to missions and getting involved in all that type of thing. So I had two problems in the business before that, in the business. I didn't think it was wrong to cheat the taxman. I would look after customers, but I didn't think it was bad to cheat the taxman. So every year when I did my figures, I used to downgrade my stock by 100 or 200,000 Rand, and then we wouldn't pay as much tax. But I thought, well, the taxman, he takes a lot from you, so he deserves not to get what his share is. But then money started, I'd grown up with the right ways, truth and honesty through my folks. We're just very straight people. Didn't have a lot, but they were very straight. But then I started getting a little bit greedy, and I used to buy cars from a lot of big companies in Johannesburg, the big banks and that. And I dealt with the guys who sold the cars. But I started to bribe them. So in other words, if they used to sell me 10 cars, and I would price them, and if I got them, I'd give him $200 a car for himself. So some or more sometimes. So it could be 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 in his pocket, and which we know is a bad thing, and that's wrong. But the money started getting, I suppose the greed of money started getting hold of me a little bit. When I became a Christian, I just said, no more. I'm not going to do that. I don't cheat the tax man anymore, and I don't bribe people. I run my business. I read the word and said, this is how it should be. And so we started doing that. The funny thing is, we did better in the business then than we ever did before.
Yeah.
And then, a couple of years later, my brother came to me, and he said, I'm immigrating to Australia. I'm going to Perth, and off he went. And so I downgraded the business a little bit. I kept 2 branches and still made more money. And God really blessed our business, and it grew just with those 2 branches, profit-wise. And then in 1989, we came to Australia, visited the family in Perth, and had a look around, and we said, wow, this is an amazing place. And we could see South Africa was having some problems. So we decided we were going to come to Australia. That was in September and October, and in the following June, we were in Australia. So now it's time to immigrate, and I made some vital mistakes coming to Australia. I thought that I'd made money, I was coming to Australia, and that I was coming to take it easy. In other words, I thought life was going to be very easy. A friend of ours in Johannesburg, of mine in business, had a much bigger business than me in motor cars. He decided, he came to Australia and saw there was no shade fabric, the playgrounds and the schools and the kindies and all that. He saw there was nothing. We used a lot of that in South Africa for the car yards. We had a lot of hail, and you couldn't get insurance cover unless you had that over your car yards. So he came here, saw there was a huge potential. He said, I'm going to make millions in that in the first couple of years, etc. And I said, can I come and help you make some of those millions? And he said, yes. So off we came. We were going to Perth. We ended up on the Gold Coast. Now, crucial thing, husbands, or if you're getting married soon, here's a lesson you can learn very early in life that I didn't, is our wives have got a spiritual antenna often that we haven't got. So we went to dinner with them one night. This guy, I knew, Caroline didn't know him, and I'd never met his wife. And we went to dinner with them. And we had quite a nice evening. A bit strange, their relationship. He's not a Christian, we Christians, but different. And we're driving home, and Caroline says, that guy's not for you. I said, what do you mean? She said, you shouldn't be in business with God. There's a different spirit to you. And you know, me being South African number one, because you'll hear a little bit more now, but being South African number one, and being the one who runs the business, I'm thinking, how do you know about that? I said, I'll tell you what, Caroline, this is really bad. I said, you handle the home, I'll handle the business, and we'll get on pretty well. Anyway, that happened twice, and I didn't listen. And that lesson cost me 6 years of my life. So anyway, we come to Australia, and when I was in my business in South Africa, I was very disciplined, very diligent. I knew everything about used car running businesses from A to Z, and I was very diligent and we were profitable and all that. Coming to Australia, I started letting my disciplines and my diligence go. Got here, the partner that we had, he had some money. He bought a house on the Gold Coast on water, and so I decided that we'd also buy a house on water. We didn't even like the house, we stayed in this house. And I'd been here 1 week, and the shade business wasn't going well. He'd been here a year on the Gold Coast, and it wasn't going well like he thought and like we thought. And so he said, well, why don't we open a used car business and start selling cars, and we'll do it like that. So I said, fine. Within a week, first week of getting here, I was in business. I didn't know where to buy cars, how to buy cars, how it worked in Australia, but I was in business. So you can see I started making some fatal mistakes. Bought the house, lived on water, ran the business for about 2 years. We were losing money. I was working harder than I'd ever worked before. Business here compared to South Africa was totally different, and I couldn't get a handle on it. Caroline said that I didn't smile for 2 years because I got so stressed I didn't know what to do. One day, anyway, just very, very stressful. And we were losing money, and I wasn't getting on my partner. He's going this direction, I'm going that direction. It was really difficult. So one day I said to him, I can't stay in this anymore, buy me out, buy us out. And he did, and it didn't work, and I had to come back into this. The end result is we bought him out eventually in this business. And this business, basically, what in the shade was making, we had 50 distributors throughout Australia. We used to do all the steel, the manufacturing, the shade cloth. We were importing the shade fabric from South Africa. We'd keep the fabric for our distributors only. We wouldn't sell it to every guy. And so that's what we were doing. And the business was really tough. We were making a little bit of a profit, but it was really, really tough. And then I bought him out and started trying to run it on a Christian basis. But there was something wrong. I was striving, and we were making a bit of a profit, but it was very, very difficult. I just couldn't work it out. And we had a guy in Brisbane that was our manufacturer. He was a South African guy. And he did all the manufacturing. We gave all the orders to him. He'd manufacture and ship it to all our guys. And one day he came to my office and he dropped this bombshell on me. He said, I'm going into competition with you. I'm taking all your distributors with me, and I still want to manufacture for you. And it just hit me. And I knew we couldn't stay with this guy. So we left him, found another guy on the Gold Coast that could make for us. All looked good, but he didn't have the expertise. And we did some big structures, some over ends of Olympic swimming pools, and so it was quite a technical business. I'm not a technical person. And I could feel the business slowly start to slip away from, and that caused a lot of stress. But one thing is, I don't know if you've ever experienced fear in your life, but I allowed fear to come in my life. And I would wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with this fear, go through my whole day, and then fall asleep again and wake up a couple of hours later exhausted and couldn't even remember what I planned for the day. Because stress really just takes all your energy and just consumes you. And I had another partner at that stage, an Australian guy, and we were up and down to the accountant all the time to see whether we were still trading solvently, we didn't want to get into trouble, and all that type of stuff. And we kept doing it, but I could feel the business slipping away. I didn't have control of the business, and fear was eating me. And one day we went to the accountant late in the afternoon, and we said, we're still fine, etc. My partner said, we can make it. I just said, no, enough. I know this is finished. I can't do this anymore. And so I said, I'm going to put the company into liquidation. So the next day, well, that day I went home to Caroline. I said to Caroline, I don't know what we've lost. We've either lost all we've got or most of what we've got. And with it came a lot of shame, because you can imagine being in business and